Hi everyone. Happy World Environment Day. Hasn't this phase of life taught us something? That if we respect nature, we continue to thrive. And if we harm nature, we cease to exist. Don't we experience something very different around us these days? The air feels purer, the birds can be heard chirping, the river waters are turning clean, and wouldn't we want to live in a world like this from now on? On World Environment Day and in keeping with United Nations Environment Program theme, Time for Nature, let's take time today to reflect upon our own lifestyles and see what changes can be made that we can make life more sustainable on Earth. I have with me today a woman who's an environmentalist and a nature lover at heart, and she's here to share some of her experiences, knowledge, and information around the small alterations that can be made in our mindset and in our lifestyle to make life more sustainable. Welcome with me, Madhavi Kolte, on Her Stories.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had some very drastic effects on our economy and society. But at the same time, on the flip side, if we see, it has given us an opportunity to see what has been the positive impact, especially on our environment. Something that we can experience, the data is supporting it, that pollution has gone down, the air quality is better, the sky is clearer, the birds can be heard chirping, is something that we were not totally in tuned with in the past couple of years. Over the decades, the way climate change and the effects of it have become such a horrific scenario for us. But now we have got this great opportunity to reflect on our own lifestyle, maybe our belief system, to understand that this is the kind of nature we need to preserve, we need to coexist and make it a place that is habitable for all. I have with me, and I'm so pleased to have her here, Madhavi Kolte, a researcher. She's the co founder and director of Jeev Bhavna, and she's here to share with us a lot of her ideas from her own experience. And she's been working in the field of environment and protecting animals from a very long time. Hi, Madhavi. Welcome to Her Stories.
Thank you, Richa, for such a warm welcome, and I'm really privileged to join you here for this discussion. I must congratulate you for your initiative because I really believe that women have the power to bring about the change, and what you're doing is so wonderful to encourage women to hone their talents and make a difference in society. We need so much of work to be done for so much that's happening. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Madhvi.
Yeah.
So, Madhvi, if I may begin from here, if you prefer to be called a conscious citizen as
Yes.
opposed to any other designation, so
Yes.
where does that come from? Yes, can you
Yeah.
explain what is a conscious
Yeah.
citizen? Yeah.
Yeah. So, Richa, whatever I'm doing, when I am explaining it to people, I honestly feel that I'm giving away this information as a conscious citizen because I have not pursued any formal studies or, done any of this thing to understand this subject. I have been an environmentalist at heart since my childhood, and I guess I kept coming back to my actions to protect the environment, because I was a very keen observer. I have been born and brought up in Pune, and I saw how the city has been destroyed over the years as I grew in this city. And I always wanted to express about it. So, though I pursued my studies in law, I have also been an artist at heart. And I got the opportunity to work with one of the finest art teachers in Pune, who encouraged me to express in art, in my ceramic practice, more than make products to sell. So that's how I became very expressive about what I think, and it carried on. Obviously, I was very concerned about the environment, so all my expressions about the environment were spilling out in my art, and I had a dialogue with my viewers. uh, so at a point, I had a experience where I spoke to some prominent environmentalists about my art, and they questioned about how about being really active. You're doing through your art, but what about real groundwork? And it really struck me because I was so concerned. I started feeling that I'm not doing enough, and so I started volunteering with organizations. Then and what happens is when you are thinking about something with total integrity and honesty, the universe unites you with the right kind of people who give you the right advice so that you can achieve what you feel what is right. And I got connected. I'm blessed to be connected to such people who gave me the right advice. And so I did the course of sustainable living and nature conservation with Ecological Society in Pune, which really removed a lot of myths in my mind about how we can protect the environment. Most important it being renewable energies, where we talk about solar panels and such things to reduce our carbon footprint. So, and as I went on, progressed, I started learning more things, and one amongst that was the vegan movement, and that raised a lot of questions in my mind, and especially the relevance to India, because I was which is having a big impact on our resources. So, but I kept my mind open, and I was driven enough to reach out to the people who have done the research. And one amongst them is the founder of Climate Healers. It's a US-based organization, and Dr. Shailesh Rao is the founder. And incidentally, he's also one of the original engineers of the internet. So today, what we call as one of our fourth basic requirement for us to in our living every day, he has given us something which we cannot live without. And he has been such a methodical person who came with a successful solution to connect the entire world. He is the same person who gave up his practice in this field of internet and decided to devote all his life to find solutions to the climate crisis. It's not a simple thing. And being a person who's an engineer, who's disciplined in his practice, who believes in doing something, finding a solution based on the real facts as he sees, he has worked on a solution. And I thought it really we really owe a lot to a person like this who has done a very real study, which is giving the real solution. So I will come to it a bit later, but I realized that this has to be taken very seriously, and I got very serious about the vegan movement, especially. And that's why I organized the Pune Health and Sustainability Conference in November last year with my friend Julie Wayne, who's been my partner in crime all this while. And then I founded Jiva Bhavana because we need to do more India-centered work. So far, the study has been very global, but we need to study the aspects of animal agriculture, the impacts of animal agriculture on our environment and the health, and we need to figure out what's happening in India. So we formed that organization. Yeah. So this
Wow.
is my journey.
I mean, I think in just a very short while, I probably cannot catch the enormity of your work, right from starting with, how you started propagating with your sculptures and then got into groundwork, connected with the people whom you got maximum information and knowledge from, and
Mm,
then having your own establishment, and the way
mm,
you are going forward is fantastic journey, I guess.
yeah,
So Madhuri, reflecting upon the current situation, I mean, I would now want to use the word opportunity. We have not had this opportunity to see that if there is a complete lockdown, there is reduced travel, there is no flying happening, the movement is not there, the beaches have become cleaner, the air is clean. So this kind of a window that we have got, and we can just see from here that this is what we have done, or we could not have, done something like this to the environment. And going forward, once the economic activity recovers, I don't think this is a sustainable solution, because of this is happening because of some contingency plan. We are trying to contain the virus and stuff. But
yeah.
going forward, what could be done? I mean, we all know. But I think this has hit us very hard, this kind of a situation, to really seriously take upon certain measures. So, what are
Yeah.
some of the sustainable ideas, something that people can practice on a regular basis? I mean, whether it's
Yeah.
individuals or organizations, what are your thoughts on this?
So, first, I'd like to touch upon the fact that the COVID 19 has actually opened the window for us to connect with the climate crisis. And what I would like to say is that it is a nature's way of telling us to slow down. I mean, there are various events which are happening. We have had floods, we have had cyclones, we have had droughts, but people are very busy in their own lives to really sit and think and reflect about this. And it's amazing that nature figured out a way where we all are grounded. None of us by choice are sitting in our houses, right? We all are being instructed by nature to just sit at home now because you have created a problem and now you have to deal with it or you have to play with your life. So this is, I mean, just a year ago, just before the conference in November 2019, 11,000 scientists from across the globe had declared a climate emergency. And they said that we are really looking for untold misery if we are not going to act urgently. How many of us heard this, or how many of the governments in the world heard this and decided to act? This is a example of how disingenuous we can be, or how we have switched off ourselves to absorb a fact which is very, very, very important for us to know. And so we are blessed that nature did this to us. To It's like a child being given a slap by a parent. Just sit down quietly because you're putting yourself in danger by doing that act. So we have got the opportunity to listen, to reflect upon ourselves, and we were forced to sit in the house. Couldn't do our normal activities, and that's why the pollution came down. The rivers are cleaner, the air is clean. Within 2 days, the birds were coming around our homes because of the silence. We could hear their sounds. We could see them making their homes. It doesn't take time for nature to rejuvenate at all. She's so strong. It's us who are creating the havoc. This is an opportunity for us to reflect ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we really need to slow down and reflect upon ourselves. And what would you suggest? Like, what are some of those changes in the lifestyle we can bring about going forward also?
Yeah.
Yes, we know we shouldn't be using too much plastic, and there is like how much ever we can possibly cut down on a vehicle use. What
Yeah.
are some of those things that we now have to do it like a conscious citizen, like a conscious effort, that
Yeah.
we do not fall back into the same kind of a
Yeah.
situation?
So what has happened is, as I said, that it's because of our disrespect for nature. We are in this situation, and how we have shown the disrespect is because of our consumption habits. We have become such huge consumers. I mean, about 2 3 decades ago, we were not into so much of buying things and pleasing ourselves with so much of entertainment and all that. And we need to understand what our basic needs are and follow certain things. Like we are so what we have done is, because of our consumption patterns, we have exploited nature for the natural resources. We haven't Nothing comes out of thin air. Have you ever thought what has really, where does a product come from? You know, what goes into making a product? If you buy a cell phone, what minerals are used which are so difficult to extract, for which you have to destroy the forest? You destroy the forest, that means you are invading on habitat of other species. So
Sure.
we have to change our consumption habit, and we have to reduce the waste that we generate. We are using so much of plastic. There is a research study that by 2048 we are going to have fishless oceans, and we are going to have only plastic in the oceans. That's the extent of plastic we are generating on our day-to-day lives. And when we as environmentalists advocate about using less plastic, we are being looked down upon as preachers. You know, we have to understand, where does all this go? We have to take that effort. We have to think about all these things, which we are not doing, but now we should take it very seriously. And while we get to know from here and there that fossil fuels is one of the causes of climate change, we have to understand where all is the fossil fuel being used. For instance, flying is one of the largest consumers of fossil fuels. So we have to understand, we have to reduce our flying. We have a huge population on this planet, which has grown exponentially in the past few decades. And we need to consciously think about bringing children into this world. If we really want, then we should have children. It should not be a pressure from our parents or from our family, a social pressure. And there are various other ways where you can connect with nature, grow your own food. There is a satisfaction, a connect with nature. You start understanding how nature functions, where you get your food from, what all you put into your plants to grow your food. So these are certain practices which we need to understand. Again, consume less energy, electricity, make a conscious effort. We are cutting down trees around our house and installing air conditioners. We are using machines for even drying our clothes. So there are certain things which are not a necessity and which we can cut down, so that we are not consuming as products for which resources are used, and we can uh, be fair in our functioning, because in today's world, in certain ways, we cannot completely cut down on everything what we are doing. So we have to see, we have to set parameters for ourselves. So these are a few things I would have suggested, as sustainable solutions. In the normal run, people understand from various sources that these are things. But now I'd like to come to something which people have not really known about, and which is the major driver of climate change. I really don't know if people know
Okay.
what is the leading cause of climate change, and it is animal
Okay.
agriculture. And animal agriculture is factory farming of animals for our consumption. People don't understand that the eggs, the meat, the dairy that we consume is also produced like any other product which we are consuming. And the amount of these products we are consuming, we are exploiting nature much more than any of the other industries. So, for example, if you take the amount of water which is used to produce 1 liter of milk, we are on an average we are using at least 1,000 liters of water to produce 1 liter of milk. I mean, these are mind-boggling statistics where even I was shocked when I got to know all this. But the kind of impact we're making with the use of our resources while producing animal-based products, it is very devastating for our environment. And another example, if I can give you, it's the greenhouse gases which are emitted by animal agriculture. If you compare it to transportation all around the planet, transportation is just 13%, while greenhouse gases by animal agriculture are 50 to 87%. That's a staggering number. And it's it is just about, it makes it clear that this is an industry which is having a way larger impact on the planet than any other form of industry. If we consider feeding animals, depending upon the kind of animal, 6 to 10 people can be fed against one animal. That is why animal agriculture is the leading cause of world hunger as well. And similarly, animal agriculture has various multifaceted, devastating impacts on the planet, like ocean dead zones, soil degradation, deforestation. So, what I am trying to say, this may be a little difficult for the layperson to understand, but this is one uh, consumption pattern which is having the biggest impact on the planet. And if I were to suggest the best way to solve the climate crisis, I would suggest a person to go plant-based, if not vegan, and contribute in a positive way. Even the Oxford study says that 73% of the carbon footprint can come down if a person goes vegan. So there is a study which says veganism is the biggest single way to combat our impact on the climate.
Okay.
So these are very credible sources uh, from reputable institutions which have made these studies and got out these facts, but which are not reaching people. And our organization, realizing the urgency of the situation, is working on studying the impacts of animal agriculture in India on the environment and the health of the public and the economic crisis that we're facing because of that.
Yeah, I mean, this is Madhuri, a lot of things that you mentioned about, not going for mindless consumerism, just keeping things or stocking or buying for the sake of it. I mean, just having that bit of a shift in our lifestyle, reducing movement unnecessarily, and in fact having those at least open conversations or getting the right data and the knowledge around what are these, as you mentioned, what are the core causes which have led to this kind of a climate change. Gaining knowledge of that and then probably bringing around a mindset shift is something that
Yes,
we ought to be looking into. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
No, this seems like a very I mean, things we talk about, we casually hear that this is what, but what is the long term implication? As when you mentioned we consume something, where is it coming from, where is it going after being discarded, how much waste are we generating, and what does it lead to eventually? I think a lot of it has to be connected to our
Yeah,
lifestyle and a way of thinking.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for all of these thoughts, Madhvi, and so many important things and little tips that you gave, and the information that you brought forward, that these are the sources and this is how lifestyle change can improve. And Madhvi, if from now, like if you have to see during the lockdown period, and I'm sure, I mean, I've seen you, walking the talk, and what is the one lesson you have come out with for yourself after this phase?
So I have been actually teaching myself and exploring more uh, better ways of growing my own food, because I have been doing it for years, but I have not gained that expertise, or there are a lot of new things which I need to know, because I've understood the importance of
Wow.
growing my own food, especially when we face problems to source our own food, and knowing the importance of having it as having less or no toxins in my food. And I am in total control of my food when I grow it myself, and I know for sure that nothing has gone into it. And it is the most stress relieving activity, I think. There's so
Right.
much joy when you have actually grown your own food and you bear the fruit of your hard work, and you value it so much. In the family, we
Of
really
course, yeah.
are not wanting to waste anything of that which is made. And imagine the joy of getting the fresh vegetable and cooking it and eating it. It nourishes you perfectly well. Of course, it does. So this is what me and my family My husband, who's a surgeon,
That's a
he's
great,
also.
surely that's a great idea. Yeah. I mean, of course, not everyone may have that kind of an opportunity, but we can at
Yes,
least explore
yes,
whatever is possible, having some greenery around us to begin with, having
yes,
some pots and plants. And if you can
yeah,
grow your own food, I think it's immensely satisfying. That is for
yes,
sure. Yeah.
yes.
Thanks a lot for being on Her Stories, Madhvi, and sharing such deep insights from your experience and expertise. And I think we can take this forward, like improving on our own lifestyle, the way we think and consuming in a way which is judicious and helps the environment also. I think that will be great. And thank you for being around, and hope you continue to enjoy your little kitchen gardening.
Yes.
See you,
Thank you,
Madhvi.
Richard. Just one thing I wanted to tell the viewers
Yes.
is it's necessary now that we indulge into our own research about what's going on. And there's one documentary I'd like to recommend for people to watch now because it's very difficult to understand probably when someone is explaining, is the End Game 2050. It is
Okay.
it's made by a physician who's turned an environmentalist. So she's a doctor who's understood that the impacts of the environment are affecting us as physically in such ways. And I'm sure people make a connection because it is with connects with their own personal health. I mean, if they're not able to understand what's going on in the world, but what is going to happen with their bodies, with them. So this is a highly recommended documentary. I would want people to watch End Game 2050. And yeah, I mean, yes,
Yeah, I'll share the link also with your
yeah,
brief, and
yeah,
I think it should reach people, and they should make most use of it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rita.
Madhvi, for
Thank you,
your
Rita.
time.
Yeah, thank you so much.